He's Henry Gomez, an ad agency strategist with over 20 years of experience.
And he's Howard Eibach, a copywriter and creative director and the author of 2 books on the creative brief. And together we're the Brief Brothers, having an ongoing conversation about briefs, briefing, and advertising.
Hey, Henry. Well, here we are. We've been talking about doing this for a long time, and now we're sitting down together and talking about a thing, a document, a process that we love, the creative brief. Why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
Well, as you said, I'm Henry Gomez. I head up strategy, research, and analytics at Zuby Advertising. We specialize in multicultural and Hispanic advertising, and I've been doing it for about 24 years now. I've been with this current agency for going on 3 years, and self-taught planner, and have been able to mentor people over the years. And like you said, love the creative process and love the planner strategist contribution to that creative process. How about you, Howard?
Yeah, and like you, I've been in the business for quite a while too. I retired as a creative, but I spent 26 years mostly in the ad agency world as a copywriter and then as a creative director. And I got into this whole business of creative briefs because I got tired of reading bad briefs, but I didn't know what a good brief was supposed to look like. So I ended up talking to colleagues like you in your background in the agencies where I worked to learn about what this thing called a creative brief is all about. And in the process, I created a workshop, which I've been delivering for 12 years. And then I created a blog, and then I turned the best of the two into a book called How to Write an Inspired Creative Brief. And for the last 4 years, I've been teaching brief writing with the ANA, the Association of National Advertisers, traveling all around the country, meeting some amazing folks. So that's my story. And we are, as we engage in this conversation, we're going to talk about the things that matter most to us as strategists and creatives around the creative brief. So I guess the first question we should ask and discuss is, what makes a great brief writer, Henry? What are the criteria from your perspective?
Well, funny you should ask, being that you're a copywriter. I think that one of the things that gets overlooked a lot when it comes to writing creative briefs is that it's writing. And therefore, just like any writing, the more you do it, the better you get at it. You're trying to tell a story within the framework of a 1 or 2 page creative brief, but that doesn't mean that the writing can suffer. So I take pride in the fact that it's not just a form with with questions to answer, but rather it's a story that I'm writing, that I'm telling the creators about our target, about our problem that they need to solve creatively. So to me, the writing itself is important. So somebody who has a talent for and a desire to be a writer, I think is important. The second thing is the ability to engage in reductionism, to take in all of the data, all of the focus group quotes, and all of the laundry list of features and benefits from the client, and get out all of the stuff that doesn't matter, all the stuff that doesn't make sense, and focus on the stuff that matters to the assignment and matters to the creative. So writing and reductionism are 2 traits, being able to edit yourself.
Well, I would say that as the writer, what matters to me is your ability to listen. Can I really pay attention to what the customer is telling me? As I want to know what the customer wants. But the last thing I'm going to do is actually ask the customer a question. I came across a quote the other day that I really liked a lot, and I used it in my post on LinkedIn. It was about Jane Goodall, who was the famed anthropologist. And someone said Jane Goodall never interviewed chimpanzees. She watched them. She observed them. Right? So our ability to listen, not just with our ears, but with our eyes, I think is a critical skill for any brief writer, which is something that you as a planner, I'm sure, do a lot of in your interviewing and in your reading. You're paying attention to what's being said, what's not being said, or what's being said between the lines, and then translating that into something that a creative like me can use. So I think we've pretty much covered the base here. Writing, reduction, listening with our eyes and with our ears. I think these are great skills that a brief writer needs.
And I think you have a great topic there for a future episode where we talk about researching the consumer and what to do and what not to do. I think those are great points.
All right, good stuff. Okay, Henry, so now we're going to take a look at some creative. I think it'd be kind of a fun idea to review of TV spot, a print campaign, something online, and review it from a perspective of both as professional creatives, but also as consumers. And a TV spot that came to my attention is a new campaign for Jeep, and it incorporates some voiceover by Carl Sagan. And I wrote a blog post about this on my website, howardeibach.com, and it hit me pretty hard, and I want to give you my thoughts on it, and then I'm eager to hear what you have to say.
From this distant vantage point, the Earth might not seem of any particular interest. But for us, it's different. Consider again that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines. Every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam.
Now, I've been a practitioner of creative for a long time, and I understand the power of brands, and I understand the power of aspiration. But what really galled me about this spot, and maybe I'm talking more as a consumer and less as an advertising professional, but Carl Sagan is an iconic figure in my life. And, he's a humanitarian and a highly regarded scientist. But I quoted a line from David Ogilvy in my blog post about it's important to tell the truth and to do it in a fascinating way. And what really upset me about this spot was that Jeep really doesn't tell the truth. It is to me, it's the worst of borrowed interest, and it raises the level of promise to unacceptable. It's just over the top, in my opinion, and doesn't do a good job of addressing really what is the role of Jeep. How can Jeep possibly play a role in helping our planet? And to me, it's an implied endorsement by Carl Sagan, which I think he would object to. And to me, it's a cynical tug on our emotions. So as a creative looking for a way to connect with the audience, I get that the Jeep audience is very loyal. But to me, this goes over the top and is the worst kind of advertising. And that's why I objected to it. So what do you think, Henry?
Well, not surprisingly, I really like the spot. Now, full disclosure, I work on the Ford Motor Company account, and Jeep is a competitor. But that said, I thought that the spot was really well done. I thought it was an elegant, creative solution, and our discussions are about creative brief, and I could certainly see where the strategy probably was about Jeep and its lineage, right? If we go back to the beginning of Jeep in the 1940s, it's always been about rugged adventure, right? Jeep is a vehicle that takes you to places where other vehicles can't. Certainly it can take you to places where vehicles like a Tesla can't, right? So the fact that they're launching this fully electric Wrangler is new news. And so bridging this idea of exploring the earth and using Carl Sagan to put the earth into context, which is that it's a tiny thing, right? But for us, it's everything. And that you should want to get out there and explore it. And that if you're going to go out there and explore it, you should do it in a vehicle that is state of the art, that has the capability, but not only that, is electric, which, debatably is better for the environment. I think it was a good solve. I think most consumers that are inclined toward Jeep are going to appreciate the Spot. I recognize that perhaps some fans of Carl Sagan might be turned off by it, but I think that as a mass appeal and as a statement for Jeep, because at the end of the day, automobile manufacturers are in a tough spot, right? Especially a manufacturer like Jeep. It's all about the outdoors, but at the same time, we recognize that motor vehicles aren't necessarily the best thing for the environment. That doesn't make them mutually exclusive. And so they're trying to walk this tightrope, and I think that they did it elegantly. But I'm going to let you have the last word.
Okay, well, I agree with you on many of the points that you made. It's very well done. It's elegant. It does an amazing job of presenting Carl Sagan's argument. But I think the argument he's making is this: it's our responsibility to protect this pale blue dot, and it's hard for me to juxtapose our responsibility as guardians of this Earth with a vehicle that's meant to explore at the expense of getting to that place. So I think the argument is subtle. And our differences are subtle, and I'm not a customer for this product, but that's my take on it. So we'll be back again, having more opportunities to debate our likes and dislikes and the advertising we see there out in the real world. So
in the meantime, if you have comments, put them in the comments and send us in, and we'll be glad to address them in future episodes.
That's right. As a matter of fact, if you want to ask us a question, reach out to us through our websites. And if we choose your question to address in a upcoming issue, we will provide you with a signed copy of one of my books. So he's Henry Gomez.
And he's Howard Eibach. And together we're the Brief Brothers. Till next time, see ya.
See you later.